Then as they get ready to get to the stretch of the race of the marathon, what happens is that they start something called a kick. And when they start something called a kick, that means that they double step their time. They double step their time. So while everybody else is tired, the Nigerian runners, the African runners bring the kick. So when the kick happens, they pass everybody because everybody else has gotten tired. They start off real slow, but then they speed up. It is not how you started off. It doesn't matter that you were born and your mama was addicted. It doesn't matter that you went to jail when you were younger. It doesn't matter that you had a baby and you were only a teenager. It doesn't matter that you were locked up. It doesn't matter that your parents weren't there. It's not how you start out, but it is how you end up. And the good news is that even though my past was jacked up, my present is fire and my future is going to be even better. And here's how you deal with people. And I said it before and I will say it again. How you deal with people who are so stuck and enamored on your past. If you are so stuck on my past and what I used to do, here's my message for you. Kiss my past. All of it, because while I'm moving forward, you're stuck in the past. No, if you're so consumed with what I did 10 years ago, 1 year ago, 3 years ago, kiss my past. I'm not there anymore. So you go back there and you stay, but I'm going forward. I don't have time to go back in what I used to do because it is not how you start off, but it is how you end up. Jephthah is said to be a mighty warrior. And in the verse it says, but he is a son of a prostitute, which suggests that because of how he was born, wait a minute, he could have easily used excuses and said, I'm like this because Caucasian people hurt me. I'm like this because the man won't let me. No, 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 no. He could not use that as an excuse because God brought him out of what he was in. Because when God calls you, he calls you based on where you're going and not where you are right now. For those that are just jumping on, I'm in Judges chapter 11, verse 1 through 10. Watch verse 2. It says, Gilead's wife bare him sons, and his sons grew up, and they kicked Jephthah out and said that he won't inherit anything. Wait, listen to the young and the restless. I need the piano. I need the piano. Listen to the young and the restless story, Christine. Watch this. It says in verse 1 that Jephthah, the Gileadite, was a mighty man of valor. And it said that his father had sex with a prostitute and had him. Then after the father had sex with a prostitute and had him, then in verse 2, it says that Gilead, Jephthah's father, had sons by his wife. Okay, let's read this again. Let's read this again, because if you look at it for face value, it looks kind of different. It says Jephthah the Gileadite was a mighty man of valor, and he was a son of a harlot, and Gilead begat Jephthah. And then it says, and Gilead's wife bare him sons, and his wife's sons grew up, and they thrust Jephthah out, said unto him, thou shalt not inherit our father's house. Now, this suggests that Gilead was married and was cheating on his wife when he met the prostitute. So notice what it says here. It says that Gilead begat Jephthah. No, he didn't marry her. Watch. Remember, Gilead begat Jephthah. Okay, anytime you look in the Bible and you see the word begat, B-E-G-A-T, that means that somebody had a baby. But they never mention the mothers most of the time. They only mention the men as if the men are having the babies. If you don't believe me, go to Matthew chapter 1 and read that whole chapter. It says such and such begat this one, such and such begat this one. Here's your lesson for tonight. This is the only deep thing that I'm going to do on tonight. When you look in scripture and it says that Moses begat David, begat Absalom, and so on, that means that they connected, they had a baby. They only mention the man, then they never mention the mother, which the Bible was written towards men. Watch. God says that all of these people begat, B-E-G-A-T, each other. When he sends Jesus, Jesus is the only begotten. Oh boy. Don't miss what I just said. In scripture. Let's go to Matthew. Let's go to Matthew. Hold on. Let me do this so you can understand what I'm saying. Let's go to Matthew. Now, if you look at Matthew chapter 1, verse 1, there's a bunch of begats. All right, listen to this. And I'm only going to read a portion so you understand where I'm going. The book of the generation of Jesus Christ, the son of David, the son of Abraham. Watch. Abraham begat Isaac. Isaac begat Jacob. Jacob begat Judah and his brethren. And Judah begat Pharez and Zerah and Thamar. And Pharez begat Ersam and Ersam. In other words, they had a baby and it was a begat. When God sends Jesus, he's the begotten. That word begotten, Begotten, God sent his only begotten son. That word begotten means that there'll be nobody else after him. So when you had a baby, you begat your baby. When I had a baby, I begat my baby. But when Jesus was sent by God, he was the only begotten, meaning that there'll be nobody else sent like Jesus to come. There was a first Adam, and Jesus was the second Adam. But when he is the begotten, that means that there will be nobody else. Is this making sense? Hopefully this is making sense to you all. So here's the thing. The text says that he's married now. Gilead has sons by his wife. Now, here's the dangerous part about this, because we can leave this open for translation. We can leave this open for translation. It says Jephthah was a mighty man. He was a son of a prostitute, and Gilead begat Jephthah. In other words, he and the prostitute had Jephthah. And then it says, and Gilead's wife bare him sons, and the sons grew up, and they kicked Jephthah out. Now we can go two different ways. We can say that Gilead cheated on his wife and had Jephthah, which would make him the oldest, or we can say that right after he had Jephthah, he got married and his wife bared sons. The silly part about this is they mention the hooker, but they mention the harlot, because they say she's a harlot, she's a prostitute. But then they say that his wife, but they don't mention the actual names. Watch what the brothers do. The brothers kick Jephthah out and they say, you can't have our inheritance because you're nothing to us. They all have the same blood. They all have the same father. But because of their love for their mother, they look at him and they say, you got to go. Your mama was a hooker. You can't get nothing here. He's still family. Isn't it amazing how you can be born and do absolutely nothing to your family and your family changes on you? Isn't it amazing? Notice it says that he had a baby by a prostitute. They named him Jephthah. Then it says that later on his wife had kids and he had kids together, and those boys got older and they cast Jephthah out. So let me get this right. I can't help how I was born. When we were little, we played with Legos and we played PlayStation and all of that. But now that we're grown, watch, y'all are so worried about money that y'all kick me out of the very house that y'all say I'm welcome to. Isn't it amazing that family was split over money? I'm a part. This is a whole sermon in itself. I have seen families completely disintegrate because of money, whether the person was alive or whether the person was dead. But most families, when you find out that you're going to get an extra $50 or something, families go nuts. And you find out who your family is that loves you when somebody dies. Look at what they said. They said, you will not inherit our father's money. Wait a minute. What did Jephthah do to them that caused them to basically say, he was a boy, he was born, and that was it? Family will turn on you for $50 and a book and a pack of Now and Laters. At funerals, you find out who really loves you, and you find out who the devils are, because family shows up. Well, he wanted me to have, can we get his body in the ground first before you start hollering about he wanted me to have this and he wanted me to have that? Family can be the... So watch what happens. I'm in verse 3. This is Judges chapter 11. Judges chapter 11, verse 3. It says, and Jephthah fled from the brothers and dwelt in the land of Tob. Here it is. And there gathered vain men to Jephthah and went out with him. We see this every single day in 2025. It says that Jephthah was treated like trash in his house. And when he was treated like trash in his house, he left, he went, and he joined the gang. It's right there in Judges chapter 11, verse 3. It says that he ran from the people that were called family. And it says that he got to Tob. And we don't know much about Tobe except it's an unknown place. And he joins a gang. Wait, he joined the gang because he did not feel the love by his family. Can I suggest to you that in 2025, we have a lot of our young people that look just like this that are joining gangs because they don't feel the love at home. Because you have parents that are showing favoritism. There's fathers who treat their sons like trash and their daughters like gold. There's mothers who treat their daughters like trash and their sons like gold. And then they look up and they say, I don't understand what got into him. It's how they were treated. Let me help you out with something about adolescent minds. Adolescent minds know, hear, and see everything. Hear me, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure if y'all are paying attention to me tonight. Adolescent minds hear everything, see everything, and they know everything. You think you're being slick by waiting till they fall asleep so you can get your freak on. And you leave your front door unlocked so he can walk in and get the drawers. And you think, oh, he sleeps, so I ain't got to worry about it. The kids hear and see everything. So maybe for some of us, the reason why our children acted up when they got older is because they watched us when we were younger. Mm. Maybe some of our children act up because they saw us when we were younger and they watched us when we were younger and it laid root into them. And I say this all the time. We're born, write this down. We're born looking like our parents, but we die looking like our choices. Don't miss that. We are born looking just like our parents, but we die looking like our choices. You can come out looking just like your dad, just like your mom, but the choices that we make in life, yeah, you come out looking like your parents, but you die looking like your choices. He joins a gang because his family members basically said, we don't want you. How many young girls are going to be impregnated this year because mama said, I don't want you? How many young boys are going to be on the block dealing rock because family said, I don't want you? Think about that. Think about that for a second. That's major. And when you look in this particular text, he basically says, since y'all don't love me and since y'all don't care about me, I'm going to go join and connect to some other people. Ooh, wait. So here's the thing. There's gold in the ghetto. That's the title tonight for those that don't know. There's gold in the ghetto. Everybody in the ghetto represents a mind that could change our culture. Hear what I'm saying? Every person that is in the hood, every person that is in the ghetto, they're born with the mind to change their reality and our culture. But because instead of them meeting books and education first, they meet weed and foolishness. Don't miss it. Instead of them reaching and receiving education and morals and values first, they receive the ghetto first. Our job is to deprogram them from being ghetto minded. Because no, I'm not judging people to say no. Being ghetto minded is not just relegated to black and white and Hispanic. There's black ghettos, there's white ghettos. Ghetto is a mindset that you don't want more than what you already have. Ghetto is a mindset that you do not abide by rules. Ghetto is a mindset that you don't care about anybody but yourself. Ghetto is a mindset where it's survival of the fittest and you could care less if people get theirs as long as you get yours. We have to deprogram these kids and these young people that are in the ghetto to let them know that there's more to life than getting drunk. There's more to life than getting high. There's more to life than having baby after baby. There's more to life than getting arrested and looking at it as a badge of honor. Heaven doesn't have a ghetto. So we need to stop acting like heaven has a ghetto. Tupac is dead. And we need to stop that. Heaven does not have a ghetto. We always want to ghettoify the things that God has made holy. So our job is to grab these young people that's in the ghetto and pull them like, yo, what you doing right now? I did it 10 years ago. What you doing right now? I did it 15 years ago. The reason why churches are not filled is because we want our children to think that we've always been in church. We haven't always been in church. And again, some of us laid on our backs to pay rent. Some of us stood on the corner and ran numbers. Some of us dealt rock. We did a whole bunch of other things. So the reality is that we have to get to a point where we go and we grab these young and tell them, listen, what you're doing right now is not godly. What you're doing right now is destructive. They don't see that right now because there's so many of them doing it. Think about this. In your city, the first warm day from today, the first warm day from today, watch how many young people are pushing strollers in the hood. Watch. And again, I'm not judging anybody because I was young with a baby. I was young with my son. Watch how many strollers you're going to see in the hood. Go to the corner stores, go to the Chinese place, go to Rent-A-Center, go to the check cashing place, go to the grocery stores, go to the hangout spots, and you see every other young child has a stroller. Now, that's not being judgmental. That's giving you what it is. So our job as people who have already been there, our job is to pick up the mantle and help them. So if we don't pick up the mantle and help them, the ghetto mindset will continue. And again, ghetto is not just black. Ghetto is not just white. Ghetto is everywhere. But that's not the life that our ancestors wanted for us. Let me help y'all with something. Let me show you reversal of fortune. Let me show you reversal of fortune. Most young people will never see this, but I'm going to show you this tonight, and you probably never thought about it this way. When you look at our ghettos today, when you look at the hood today, watch. There's young men that are walking around uneducated. There are young girls that are walking around with babies on their hips. There's a lot of people that can't read. There's a lot of people that can't write, and all they do is go with the flow. Go back to plantations. You had a bunch of people that couldn't read, a bunch of people that couldn't write, a bunch of young girls that had babies on they belonged to their owners. Nobody was educated. Nobody had a bank account. Nobody had credit. Nobody had more. Think about that for a second. Tell me that doesn't look the same. Go back to slavery. You had young girls who looked like us that were teenagers that were impregnated by their owners. And they walked around baby on their hip. And eventually when the baby got older, the baby picked cotton following in the footsteps of the mama. And in 2025, we have a mama carrying a baby around. And in a couple of years, now the baby's carrying the baby. There's no difference. I'm freezing. Hold on. I'm freezing. Hold on. 1 second. Okay. If you can hear me, just type I can hear. So all I'm saying is that back in the day, and I'm putting this picture in your head. Back in the day, there were people of color, the men, who were bossed around by a Caucasian owner and were confined to a spot. In 2025, there's a bunch of us that are in a confined spot being told to do by an owner in prison. Back in the day, the 15-year-old would begin to show. And then when she had the baby, they would look as if she was nothing. And she had to carry a baby while she was picking cotton. In 2025, these young girls are carrying, but there's nothing different from then and now. On the plantation, nobody could read or write, and they did not have ability. In 2025, they can't write cursive. Some of them can't read. Some of them can't write. In slavery, they spoke broken English because they were uneducated. In 2025, they don't want to be educated and they're speaking broken English. It's the same thing then as it is now. They don't see that. Our job is to paint that picture, because if they take away education, if they take away the Department of Education, that assures that we again will be walking around ignorant, unlearned, can't read, can't write, and the Department of Education was taken away. And if you've seen some of the test scores that I've seen, you like, wow, the kids go to school every day, but they can't read and they can't write. And if they get passed through the system, it's because they're athletes or they bring some type of monetary compensation to the school. So they're used in order to make money. Kind of sounds like slavery when they use bodies to make money. That's why there's so many arguments in college sports, because those people made money off of the backs of these young kids. And now these young kids are able to sign deals to get money, and the coaches are mad. That literally, y'all are angry that these kids are making money, but y'all made money off of kids. Nick Saban, Dabo Swinney and all the college coaches, y'all made a whole bunch of money off the backs of these young kids. But now that the kids are getting paid, you want to quit talking about it's not the same and it's da da da. Really? Y'all made money off of us. So because y'all made money off of us, now that we're making money off of our own name, y'all are angry? Man, well, here's the thing, Short and Sassy. I used to look at celebrities to be role models. I used to look at sports figures. Now, there's a few that I look at now. Sports wise, Jalen Brown that plays for the Boston Celtics is a true humanitarian and he is a fighter for the rights of people of color. Jalen Brown, he plays for the Boston Celtics. Um, for those that are actors, of course, Samuel L. Jackson, Angela Bassett. There's a few of them that have spoken out for, but other than that, most of them you can't count on them. Jalen Hurts has as well, But think about this for a second. With the exception of J. Cole and a few other rappers, why aren't the rappers saying anything about Donald Trump? The biggest mouth that we hear in reference to him from rap is Eminem. And Eminem doesn't even look like us, but he's talking about. Why do you think that is? See, that's why I don't put my stock into rappers. I don't put my stock into athletes because many of them, they're not going to say anything because if they do, they're going to mess up their money. If you say something, I'm going to take you and they'll avoid it. They'll figure out something to do to get them in trouble and then they're gone. When you're vocal, let me give y'all a name y'all have probably never heard before. Craig Hodges. Craig Hodges played with the Chicago Bulls with Michael Jordan during the first go around. And when they went to meet the president, they went to meet the president, Craig Hodges asked the president, "Why is there so much stuff done for everybody else, but there hasn't been things done for people of color?" The next season they cut him. Michael Jordan had something to do with that. Now, y'all can say what y'all want to about Michael Jordan. Yes, athletically on the court, one of the greatest ever. Personally, behind closed doors, I'm good on Michael Jordan. I'm really good on Michael Jordan because he was a catalyst in getting Craig Hodges removed. Because when you play ball, they want you to be quiet and play ball. But when Nick Bosa wears a Trump hat for the San Francisco 49ers, he's patriotic. Isn't that something? Now, that somebody said somebody. Now, remember, y'all, the Ice Cube song "Arrest the President" came out in 2018. Since then, he has shown his support for MAGA. I used to be an Ice Cube fan, but yeah. But Michael Jordan saw fit. Yo, Craig, and it's on the documentary. Craig Hodges said, "Yo, Craig, you don't want to say nothing, in reference to us because you don't want to mess up your money." And they traded him away. I give you another name, Mark Jackson. His play name was Mahmoud Abdul Rauf. He would be praying when the national anthem was going on, and they were just like, "Okay, we got to get rid of him because he doesn't want to respect the flag." He would stand for the national anthem, but he was praying because he was Muslim, and they said, "Okay, we got to do something." Whenever you step out of the ring that they want you to be in and you talk differently, they get angry. That's why there are so many people that are always on my page in the daytime, very few at night, but in the daytime, because I step out of the box and I say what other people are afraid to say. Well, you a pastor and you're not supposed to talk about that. Who told you that? Jesus challenged political figures. Jesus challenged Pharisees. Jesus challenged the government because it was the government that unalived him. Yeah, they cannot stand critical thinking. Colin Kaepernick took a knee for injustices and they said, "Don't do it during the game." Nick Bosa walks out with a hat on that says Donald Trump make America great again. Miss me with that. They pick and choose. And because they pick and choose, I will never be silent when it comes from my people. I'm not supposed to be silent. Watch the text. The text says that he is born in the hood. He's born of a prostitute and he gets put out by his own people. They didn't put him out. It says that he left. And when he left, he joined the gang. It's right there. I'm in Judges chapter 11. I'm in Judges chapter 11. I'm in verse 3 and verse 4. Watch verse 4. It says, "And it came to pass in the process of time that the children of Amnon made war against Israel." Watch this. Watch this. "And it was so that when the children of Amnon made war against Israel, the elders of Gilead went to fetch Jephthah out of the land of Tob." Wait, Hold on, wait. So let me get this right. Y'all kick me out the house and y'all tell me that I'm the son of a prostitute. You tell me that I'm ghetto and that I'm a hood rat and I'm nothing and I'll never get an inheritance. And then because there's a war going on, they say, hey, we want you to come and lead our army. Okay, I need Mike Jones. Mike Jones. Back then they didn't want me. Now so when I was younger, y'all said that I was a son of a prostitute and y'all didn't need me for nothing. Get out my house. Now that y'all are getting that tail whip, now you want me to come and lead your army. Isn't that amazing how people switch up and change on you? Isn't it amazing that 1 minute people just cannot stand you, but when they know that they can get something out of you, here they come. Listen, y'all, I am a keep that same energy person. You write this in your notes, write this in your notes. You can't unsnake a snake. Mm. You can't unsnake a snake. You've been evil towards me my entire life. And now here come the Bible people. Well, you know, the Bible say turn the other cheek. Be quiet. You sound goofy. That ain't got nothing to do with nothing. Turn the other cheek was added into the King James Version during slavery to make sure that slaves were kept subservient. You cannot unsnake a snake. 1 minute you love me. First you love me, then you hate me. Then all of a sudden you need me to do. Mm-mm. Nope. Don't mess around. Don't mess around and need no kidney. I'm talking to my family members who's watching right now that don't like me. Don't mess around and need no kidney. Don't mess around and need no pinky toe. Don't mess around and need no lung. You like my Bernie Mac boys, you fresh out of luck with me. It ain't happening. Watch what it says. It says that there was a war. The war is going on, and then it says the elders of Gilead. There it is. Make it rain. Hey, Mike sent it. Michael sent it. Appreciate you. So watch. It says that the elders of Gilead went to fetch Jephthah. Fetch. The fetch. What you mean fetch? It's right there in the King James. Notice what it says. It says that the elders said, y'all go fetch him. Okay, first of all, I'm a grown man, dog. My subject to entertain, I'm a grown man. Second of all, y'all didn't want me, but now y'all need me. So y'all gonna come at me like you fetching me like a dog? Disrespectful? Are you getting what I'm saying? Theo, don't do it, Theo. So basically, they go look. I'm in Judges chapter 11, verse 6 now. Watch what it says. And they said unto Jephthah, come and be our captain, that we may fight with the children of Ammon. Thanks, Krista. Thanks, Krista. You see what they said unto Jephthah, come with us and you can be our captain. In other words, we're trying to bribe you with position. We're trying to bribe. We can't fight this fight because they handing our tails to us. We need somebody to lead us, and we want you to be our captain. They sound like an insurance salesman. Remember that episode of Martin when it was cold outside and Martin had glass and he had the tape over the window and they said they were going to send Cole to get pizza. And they said, Cole, you the only one that can go out there and get that pizza. You the only one that could do it. They hyped him up and hyped him up. And then when they closed the door, you think he going to make it? He was like, in that blizzard, heck, no, he ain't going to make it. People will hype you up when they need you. But before they need you, they drag your name through the mud, talk about your character, mess you over, and then watch. They never thought that they would need you. And when they never thought that they would need you, now that they actually need you, they're going to come back to you. Watch this, as if they did nothing to you. I'm an energy person. I'm Christ-like, but I'm not Christ. Sounds like Jephthah. Now we sit now. Come on. It's April 4+1, that March. I needed y'all years ago. My grandparents needed y'all. My great grandparents needed all of them. And now y'all want me to leave my house and I'm not going to do it. I shall not do it. It's not going to happen at all. Watch. They said, we want you to be our captain. And then it says they go to fetching. So the way that they came at him was like they were fetching. You know what I'm saying? Aria. Is that wait a minute. Is that my great niece Aria that just followed me? Or is that just a different Aria? I'm just making sure. I have a bunch of nieces and great nieces. So watch what happens. It says, therefore, we turn to you now. Notice how notice how they kissing his tail. Watch, listen to the words. Listen to the words that they're saying. Watch what they say. I'm in Judges chapter 11, verse 8. It says, and the elders of Gilead said unto him, therefore, we turn again to thee, that thou may go with us and fight against the children of Ammon, and be our head over the inhabitants of Gilead. So before you didn't like me, you talked about me, and you said all this stuff about me. Now all of a sudden you want me to come and fight for you. And the reason why I'm talking about this tonight, because again, April 5th, I'm not leaving the crib. I'll be in South Carolina preaching. I'm not doing that. I'm gonna be somewhere eating ribs and French fries. That's what I'm doing. I'm not doing none of that extra. So watch what it says. It says, notice, Jephthah talks to them. Here's the fight. Get ready, get ready, get ready. Here's the fight. And Jephthah said unto them, if you bring me home again to fight against the children of Ammon, and the Lord deliver them before me, shall I be your head? Shall I be over you? And notice how they brown nose again. And the elders said unto Jephthah, the Lord be witness between us if we do not do this according to our words. It says that they went and they fought and they won because Jephthah was a mighty My question is this: why did you wait until you could not see me anymore to see I was valuable? Why did you wait? See, here's what people do. People will unalive you and join the search party looking for you. People would drag you through the mud, and then when they need you, here they come. Well, you know what? I just wanted to say that God is so good and you this and that. Mm-mm. I'm not doing none of that. Listen, let me tell y'all something, and y'all are going to talk about me, but if I did not do this when I did it, I would probably be in a horrible place. Years ago, I had a deacon. He's passed away. Years ago, I had a deacon that literally told me to go to hell in the church during service on Sunday morning. He was of age, so he really couldn't move So he used to make little statements towards me. He was like, when I was younger, I would have done, and I'm like, bruh, I'm not that person. You really don't understand. I love the Lord, but you're not going to put your hands on me. I'm not turning the other cheek, and I will end you and do the funeral in the same building and eat chicken downstairs in the basement. And when we say RIP, that means we can rest in peace because you're now gone. Don't play with me like that because I'm not that person. So he says, well, as a pastor, you change and you this and that. I'm like, sir, I never called him out of his name. I never went in. One time I went because he threatened me. So he's like, well, I'll have my sons come up here. I said, sir, if you get your sons to come up here and do me any type of bodily harm, I said, excuse my French, y'all, I'm on my page that I can say what I want. I said, I will whip all three of y'all individually or collectively, however y'all want to do it. You're not going to, I was like, you barely can walk. Your other son needs a kidney and the other one is limping. I said, I'm not the person that you want to threaten. He says, see that? He's threatening me in front of like 30 people. I'll get my sons to go. So when he heard that I was about that life, he flipped and changed. So he went telling his family, this pastor, this and this pastor. That. So when the family would come, I would speak to them. Hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? And I'm like, oh, I don't mean a few family members. I mean the grown-ups down to the kids. Before that altercation happened, when his grandkids would come in, I'm like, hey man, what's going on? We would play ball, everything. They completely said, we're done with you because he threatened me with his sons. And I told him I'm not that person. Here's what's funny. This is the best. I appreciate you, Roro. Here's the funniest thing out of all of it. When he died, now it's not funny that he died, but when he did pass away, the same family that he ain't nothing. We can't stand him. These young preachers, because I was younger then, these young preachers these young preachers and these young, that. Pastor, you just really be delivering the word. And we want to know if you could do us the honor and do the eulogy of that. I said, I have to participate. And they looked at me like, no, we're asking you to preach the funeral. And I'm telling y'all, I choose not to participate. What do you mean? I'm not going to preach it. Well, you were his pastor. I said, I wasn't his pastor. I said, he came to this church, but I wasn't his pastor. What do you mean you weren't his pastor? I said, that man cussed me out in front of y'all, told y'all a bunch of lies about me, threatened me with y'all's fathers to come up here and beat me up, said all types of horrible things against me, and you think that I'm going to get up in front of his dead body and tell y'all that he's going to heaven? And I am telling you, I'm not going. I ain't going. And didn't. And didn't. I said, here's what we're going to do. The previous pastor was a good friend of his. I said, I'll put in the call to him and I'll have him to come. And he came and he preached it, and they were, I can't believe that you didn't want to. He drugged me through the mud, drugged my children through the mud, drugged my family through the mud, assaulted my character, drugged me through the mud in the church, spoke out against me publicly, cussed me out and told me to go to hell while I was preaching. And y'all think that I'm just going to go and stand over his body? And I tell every minister that's under me, because I'm about to start licensing and credentialing people to go into nursing homes and prisons on here on this app, don't you dare get up on that microphone and lie. Don't do it. I'm just saying, Theo, don't do that. People, let me explain something to you. When somebody dies, you do not get up and just talk about the dead. Now, if you have a faithful member that love God and they're truly missed, you get those points in, of course. But for those devils, don't you get up there lying. They cussed you out, lied on you, and then you want me to get up. Get up, and I need you to tell the people that he loved. I said, I'm not going to do that. I've had people tell me, well, if you can't do that in the sermon, we're going to have to pay somebody else to preach. Cool. I don't care. I'm not going to get up there and lie. Do you know how scary it is to be in a pulpit and you hear all this beautiful music and then you got to get up and preach a sermon and you got to tell the people with a straight face, we come to celebrate the life, love, and legacy of brother or sister so-and-so. And we know that to be absent in body means to be present with the Lord when you want to tell people that you know they in hell. You know how hard I can't do that. My conscience will not let me get up and send evil people to heaven. My conscience will not let me get up and send dealers who stood on the corner and unalive their own people by way of rock. And I will not get up because your grandson got bit. Just because you get a funeral in church doesn't mean you're going to heaven. That's sad, and it's reality. Many pastors don't talk about this, but I see they put on the bulletin, he was baptized at an early age. Okay, he was baptized at an early age. He died at 65. What did he do for the previous 50-some years? I need to know what he did for the previous 50 years, because if it wasn't godly and it wasn't related to God, we're not doing that here. And here's the thing, in this area, I do an assessment of people who die. And first thing I ask, if it's a young person that's dead, I ask the question, were they affiliated? What do you mean? Were they in a gang? Well, yeah, okay, here's the deal. If he was in a gang, I'm going to suggest that you go have it at the funeral home or either the graveyard. Why can't we have it at the church? Because I have elders that are on oxygen. I have people that are elderly. I have other people that are in the church and they show up to every event, and I can't have retaliation coming because they're mad that they didn't get the person they wanted to get. And I've been in churches. I've been in churches where while we're in there, and you like what? And they outside popping off, and then they're trying to come inside to pop up. Ain't doing none of that. So I'm going to ask, was he or she affiliated? If they were affiliated and they did not know the Lord, they did not go to church, they were not in the kingdom, I suggest you have the funeral at the graveyard and I'll come do it. Or you can have it at the funeral home and I'll come do it. But I'm not going to do it in the church because these young kids and these YNs out here do not care. They will show up and they will just flat out on everybody because they don't mind collateral damage. So I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to get up and lie. And I challenge anybody do not preach Jesus. If it's somebody who you knew loved the Lord and everybody cared, of course. But for those devils, don't you dare. Don't do that. See, here's the problem. Here's the problem with us. There are people that like dogs and cats. I love dogs. I'm not a cat person, right? Dog. Have you ever noticed that this is some people, and I'm not making fun of people. I'm telling you what I see. Some people will take a pit bull or they'll take a Rottweiler or a dog, and they'll put the same clothes on the animal as they have on, right? So you see a pit bull that's got on shoes, jeans for a dog, shirt, hat, and glasses. It's cute. I get it. It's your pet. That's your baby. So you have people that'll go walking a pit bull and they have on blue jeans, a shirt, hat, everything matches. And then when the dog gets a sniff of something that's off, the dog breaks loose from the master and then